Imagine that a brother has sex with his sister and impregnates her, that woman,
He should go to jail.
and that woman should be forced to bring that child to term and bring up that child.
It does not change the value of that person, but that child is a gift. The child's value is not dependent on whether his father is a rapist.
Again, I put it to you, gentlemen.
I put it to
you, gentlemen. That who the hell do you think you are making that decision for another person?
What you're looking at is pure fervour, undiluted fundamentalism. It is the sight and sound of a small man, the latest of an unbroken string of small men who have wanted primacy over women's bodies and souls. Abortion, the right to choose, has been one of the axes of American politics since the early 1970s. It divided people. It divided presidents.
I've noticed that everybody that is for abortion has already been born.
I'm not going to change my position any.
I'm not going to do it.
A culture of life.
You've also got a president who's going to be right there with you, fighting every step of the way.
These extremist laws that are put in jeopardy women's health and rights.
An uneasy stasis endured for decades, but all the time, a powerful, extremist, evangelical network was amassing power and strength and money, becoming more dominant, taking over the Republican Party, getting its judges on the bench, forming the unlikeliest of alliances.
It put pro-lifers in a very strong negotiating position.
And then, in 2022, the right to choose was gone.
At the Supreme Court today, an historic upheaval. In a sweeping ruling that overturned a half a century of precedents, 5 justices ended the right of American women to choose abortion under the Constitution, voting to overturn Roe v. Wade itself.
And American women in states like Florida, with near or total abortion bans, are living with the consequences.
Did something that nobody thought was possible. I got rid of Roe v. Wade.
This is the story of America's war against women, of women becoming wombs.
Shala, can you tell us the areas that we're going today so folks know?
Yeah, Farley and Emil, y'all are going to like Alafaya, and then you'll be in Winter Park, so like 10 minutes away.
Okay. So same drill, mostly folks that will know about the amendment. We're helping them make a plan to vote, and then we're really pushing that next step of volunteering. We've got the weekend of action. They could do what you're doing tomorrow, the next day. I'm not sure how Halloween will go, but we'll see. We'll go before the kids do. And just letting folks know like the urgency of this moment. I am on internal calls like bracing for one way or another, and I can't stress to you enough how close everything is right now.
So we've come to a suburb of Orlando to meet with a group who are trying to do something about the situation, the abortion situation in the state. And they are part of the Yes to 4 campaign, which, as we know, is trying to enshrine abortion rights in the Constitution. They know it's an uphill battle. What's driving you to do this, to be involved?
Me personally, this is just a really close issue close to my heart. I value my own freedom to do what I want to with my body, and I think that everybody should be able to feel that way. I don't think that there's half the population that should be limited to what they can decide that they are ready to do or not ready to do.
Laws like this, bans like this, affect marginalized communities more than they affect someone like me. And, you know, I'm trans actually, and it's something that could personally happen to me. It would totally change the trajectory of my entire life if I had to carry to pregnancy. Like, it's just, even people who are conservative, I mean, they don't want the government interfering with their life. That's kind of what being conservative is about, isn't it?
This is not a fight they expected to have. Following the abolition of Roe, Florida went from having one of the most liberal regimes on abortion across the South to one of the most extreme anywhere in the country. Only in May, hard conservative Republican Governor Ron DeSantis reduced the limit to just 6 weeks, leaving Democrats and progressives reeling.
The court ruled correctly that being able to provide protections for a baby that has a detectable heartbeat is lawful and constitutional.
But when the state Supreme Court upheld Florida's more restrictive abortion law, it also cleared the way for Floridians to vote on a constitutional amendment that would codify a woman's right to choose.
Now, voters are going to be presented, and I think that once, if they know what this actually means, that it'll be in trouble.
My name is Anavia Scamani, and I'm proud to be the State House Representative for District 42 in the Florida Legislature. Excited to be here in my little square office.
Could we just start by just explaining what the situation is with regards to abortion in Florida right now?
Well, Florida has a near total abortion ban, which means abortion is banned at 6 weeks in our state, a period where most women do not realize they're pregnant yet. In addition to the 6-week abortion ban, we also have something called 24-hour mandatory delay, which forces a woman who is seeking access to an abortion to meet with a doctor, leave and come back at least 24 hours later, creating another barrier on top of other barriers. And so to this point in Florida, it is very difficult to be able to access an abortion. There are exceptions, but they're very narrow and very limited. And it's to create this environment where doctors are uncomfortable providing care even when a woman's life is at risk. So we've had situations where patients have had to become more sick before the doctor will provide them care, and situations where patients have had to leave the state of Florida in order to access that care that they need.
How far would you have to travel now out of state? Say you're 7 weeks pregnant, so you're just over the limit. How far would you have to travel in order to be obtain an abortion?
Well, the closest state right now for 15-week abortion access is North Carolina, and beyond that, it's Virginia or farther.
And how long does it take to get to North Carolina from here for you to drive it, for example?
This is a 17 to 20-hour drive, depending on traffic. None of the states that touch Florida provide abortion care at this point.
Very few abortion clinics remain in a state of over 22 million people. This one in Orlando is one of the few which remain for the few women who will even realize at 6 weeks that they are pregnant at all. And even if they do, this is what they must endure.
Hear the truth, see the light, and know that there is a way out. You have options.
Every day across America, women are harassed as they seek medical care.
These people here profit from your death of your child. They profit from blood. Their hands are filthy with the shedding of innocent blood. Seek the Lord while he may be found.
Stop
this is his
harassing
kingdom.
These women
and the human
go
sacrifice
home.
will stop.
You are a creeper and a liar.
The human sacrifice for money and time
home.
And freedom will end.
No one wants you here. You need to go home.
My name is McKenna Schuler. I'm a staff reporter for Orlando Weekly.
You don't give a shit about these.
They want your money.
But just explain where we are now and kind of what happens here day after day.
So we are currently outside of the Center of Orlando for Women, which is one of 2 licensed abortion clinics in Orlando and one of the only licensed abortion clinics in the region. And this clinic is interesting specifically. It's a private abortion clinic, so the other one in Orlando is a Planned Parenthood. And what we do see outside is protesters every single day pretty much, and on weekends it's actually like literally a circus because there are a lot of people that travel from outside of Orlando on the weekends just as a family activity, even bringing minors or young people to come out here and protest outside of the clinic.
To barrack and heckle women going in and the people who work there to seek an abortion, they come for the weekend as a family activity.
Yes, the first couple of times I came here to report, once they saw me walking up, they immediately just made a beeline to me and started throwing like campaign materials, so anti-abortion materials, literature, and asking me why I was there, trying to convince me not to go inside this. They've described it as hell. Earlier, one of the protesters out there currently compared abortion clinics to concentration camps. So they use really derogatory and really bigoted language to describe licensed abortion clinics in Florida.
Talk to us.
Have mercy, miss. We can help you. We'll do anything for you.
If it's really a choice, why not hear both sides?
Have mercy, miss. God has given you a gift today.
Little boy or little girl?
So Simon, what we're seeing there, very vividly
Yes.
demonstrated, is what the people outside of this clinic do day after day, which is that they heckle women as they're going in to the clinic. And what effect does that have on them?
It is highly stressful and upsetting for patients. Yes, it is. I talk to the patients.
Oh, you meant the patients. I thought you meant you.
No, you guys don't stress me out. But
Murder's pretty stressful on the patients, for sure.
It's stressful for patients because this is not an easy thing, for a lot of people, and it's not like you're, excited to come get any medical procedure, and because they will follow people to their cars, they'll approach people's cars and make it difficult for people to get out, even, and so it's a lot on people. They'll also film. It's just not great.
Must be extremely traumatic for them.
It really is, and you're just making a hard situation even worse for people.
Not okay. Have you looked up the record? This is a baby, a little boy or girl. Why is there so much hatred in your heart? We can help you. You can help thousands.
So just to be clear, and we won't show that lady's face, but to be clear, a lady parked up down there, she's gone into the clinic, and this gentleman here has said, if that's the right word for him, has said little boy or girl to stress her out, and she's had to reply, it's not about that.
Yes, yeah, that happens.
She looked clearly quite upset by that.
Yeah, it happens a lot. Yeah, because it's super stressful, and it's they're just kind of, these random men screaming at you also makes it stressful, because who wants a random man to scream at you in any context, but especially something like this,
They're God.
Yeah, you're getting full experience.
I mean, they've done this, so we've been talking for 5
that you will
minutes.
receive for killing your child.
And they've barracked 3
Your
women.
little boy or little girl.
Watch your language,
All of whom
No,
clearly...
fuck you, dickhead.
Human sacrifice.
Shut up.
If this was really
Shut
about
up,
free
you
choice,
liar.
why would they try to silence
are
us?
a liar.
If this was about choice, why wouldn't they let us
liar
speak?
and a fucking creeper.
So, excuse me, you're saying that you can help that woman.
Yes.
Maybe she doesn't need your help. I mean, who do you think you are
A lot of
attacking her
people
as she's
don't.
going in?
Attacking.
Yeah, you're making her feel.
One word.
You're making her feel
of
uncomfortable.
nastiness
You're
to
making saying things like
Like
you
we
a
can
boy.
help you?
Is it a boy or a girl? Is just mocking her. Is unpleasant.
Is it a boy or a girl? Are you kidding?
For a start, they'd have no idea whether it's a boy or girl, or not, because they have to have an abortion before 6 weeks, as you well know.
What's your question?
My question is, who do you think you are?
We're here offering hope and help, and we've helped thousands. I had a lady crying in my arms the other day because she saw the truth of what this is.
According to the people here, you make
interested?
these women cry.
No.
Well, do they? Do they often make women cry going in?
I've seen women cry out here, yeah.
And you know as well as I do that at this point now, it is extremely difficult for women in Florida to get abortions. 6 weeks.
Not difficult enough.
So when do you think the line should be drawn?
Abortion should be legal everywhere, period.
What, in any circumstances,
Yes.
including incest?
Yes.
So you're saying that if
Here's the thing.
wait a minute. You're saying that if your brother, let's imagine that a brother has sex with his sister and impregnates her, that woman,
He should go to jail.
and that woman should be forced to bring that child to term and bring up that child.
It does not change the value of that person. He should go to jail.
No, that should
We
be the
believe
death penalty.
we believe that rapists should get the death
And that woman should live with the trauma of that day after day,
Planned?
bringing up that
Are you
child.
familiar with Planned
But
Parenthood?
shouldn't that be her choice? Okay, maybe she'll want to do that. Who the hell are you to tell a woman who had been abused, sexually abused by her father or her brother or her uncle, that she must? Why would you punish that innocent woman by making her have that child?
A child is a gift, not a punishment.
You're saying that it's a gift in that circumstance when your brother has had sex with you, that it's a gift.
Awful. It's awful.
But the child is a gift.
He deserves to go to jail, but that child is a gift. The child's value is not dependent on whether his father is a rapist.
Again, I put it to you, gentlemen.
I put it
to you, gentlemen. That who the hell do you think you are making that decision for another person?
I understand. In your country, you don't believe in freedom of speech, but the reason we
believe in freedom of speech, absolutely fine. You don't know anything about my country.
You don't have it codified.
We believe in freedom of speech, absolutely fine. But my question to you, my question to you,
because of situations
I'm
like
not.
this.
My question to
Because
you,
when the government decides
my question,
that this is the status quo, who are us of people of faith to have a voice?
My question to you is, who do you think you are making that decision for another person?
I'm not making the decision. She is.
This isn't even the half of it. Vigils are held for the unborn outside of abortion clinics, arranged by apps you can download on your phone. Every day you can check coverage just in case, heaven forbid, the women might enter a clinic left alone. Meanwhile, inside the clinics and hospitals, life has been turned upside down.
I'm Corey Bale. I'm a OBGYN here in Florida, Central Florida, and I'm a professor at the local College of Medicine.
Could you just give us a sense of what life is like at the moment for doctors in the state of Florida who are working in abortion clinics, providing reproductive services for women?
It's like we have the government in the exam room with us, with the women that we treat, instead of this being a decision that a woman makes given her individual circumstances, along with her physician, her family, and if she's somebody of faith. We now have to abide by laws that have been passed by people who have really no understanding of the nuances of what's involved in medical care. We've seen this affect the care of women who have pregnancies that have no hope of continuing, but yet can't receive the D&Cs they need with a non-viable pregnancy because they're past arbitrary bans. We're seeing women die from infection and hemorrhage. Recently, there was a case in Georgia where a woman spent 20 hours in the hospital and died without getting the D&C that would have saved her life. I don't feel that I adequately can explain to you how difficult it is. And not only are we under assault for providing reproductive health care for women, but if we don't provide the reproductive health care, then we also can be penalized as a felony. It's a horrible situation.
How can you possibly operate under those circumstances?
Doctors are leaving Florida. Our former medical director for Planned Parenthood of Southwest and Central Florida, which encompasses about half of the state, has left, and our former vice president for medical affairs, also a full-time physician at Planned Parenthood, has left. That's two friends of mine that I know of, and there are many more. I think it's going to exacerbate what we already have, care deserts in Florida. I think the number of physicians practicing in Florida is going to decrease, and the caliber of the physicians that we're attracting to our training programs are probably going to suffer as well. I think young people selecting which medical school they might want to come to would avoid Florida, and not just because of the abortion laws. We have our government wants to impose itself on questions of gender-affirming care, We have book bans. We banned more books in Florida in the last year than ever before. Any parent can request a book be banned in any jurisdiction. AP Psychology, which is Advanced Placement Psychology, which is one of the most popular advanced placement courses for gifted students in Florida, is no longer taught in Florida because they refused to remove, the AP board refused to remove a couple of paragraphs about, scientifically based information about gender care.
It sounds like an inquisition.
Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?
So, government inspectors in the gynae wards, in the abortion clinics, yet as clinics have closed, pregnancy crisis centres have replaced them. There are 160 of these in Florida alone, far outnumbering actual abortion clinics, and they might, when you Google them, look and sound a little bit like abortion clinics, but they're definitely not. Indeed, critics argue, they're deeply sinister.
Crisis pregnancy centers, also known as fake abortion clinics, according to critics, and or pregnancy resource centers, are these often predatory facilities that are run by church groups or religious nonprofits that exist solely to convince pregnant people not to seek abortion care or to otherwise offer so-called alternatives to abortion. But they often pose as actual abortion clinics, and at least 1/3 of them in Florida. There's about 160 compared to 50 licensed abortion clinics. About 1/3 of these fake clinics receive state taxpayer funds.
So they pose as fake abortion clinics. They tell women that they are abortion clinics.
Many of them do. There are a few that have websites where at the very bottom of the website you'll see in very small print, we don't actually offer abortions. But many of them do misleadingly portray themselves as abortion clinics, and a couple of ways they do that is by using very sophisticated marketing tactics online, or they will specifically choose locations that are nearby actual abortion clinics to confuse people, or they will have terms in their name, in the name of the facility, like choice or choices, leading people to believe that if they go to this facility, they will actually be offered choices when that's not the case.
So women who are pregnant, seeking an abortion, go in there and they are thinking they're going to get an abortion, and then they're basically subtly or not so subtly in various ways dissuaded, or they try and dissuade them from obtaining an abortion.
Yes, that's correct. There's actually a local chain here in the Orlando area called Choices Women's Clinic that they have a newsletter for donors where they specifically bragged about this in a May newsletter. A couple of women who came in to their facility seeking an abortion is how they described it, and were confused or angry when they realized that that is not actually an option they would be able to access.
Pregnancy crisis centres deny that they try to fool women, but there is no doubt that their purpose from their own marketing is deeply unclear. And there are stories of women who say that they've been conned by them, and even that these organisations have sometimes tried to shame them, making public their personal information, something again which they deny. But what is beyond dispute is that because they are not licensed or regulated, they pass under the radar.
Where there's no regulation and they're receiving with the new 6-week abortion ban that went into effect in Florida in the spring, that law also included $25 million a year for these fake clinics where anyone can do an ultrasound with no training, no oversight. And we have government agencies in the abortion clinics every week trying to find out if our charts are incorrect, if we've done anything improper, if we haven't followed every law as it's been stipulated.
And it's even more bizarre than that, because the Floridian state quite literally subsidizes many of these unregulated clinics, whilst at the same time providing zero funding to actual licensed abortion facilities. We wanted to ask whether women really are safe in these clinics' care, so we found one in downtown Orlando.
So we're going to go and try and knock on the door, see what they say. Vans. Oh, no, someone's coming. Hello there, hi, my name's Lewis Goodall. We're from the News Agents, which is an organisation in the UK, a media organisation. Just wondering, hello, yeah, we're doing a story on abortion in Florida at the moment, and we just wondered whether there might be someone from the clinic available to talk to about the services you provide.
Go ahead and ask our director.
Yeah.
And which
It's the News Agents, so it's
the
News Agents, yeah, it's Britain's biggest daily news podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Let me go ahead and go ask her and see if she's available.
Well, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Cheers. Thank you. Right. Okay. Gonna go and check with the director. She thought it was awesome that we were here. See about that. Oh, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, very well, thank you. Yes, I was just explaining to your colleague that we're from the UK and we're doing a story about abortion in Florida.
Yeah.
And wondered if there was someone we could speak to.
We would need to schedule an appointment that our director's not available right now.
Oh, I see.
We have patients coming in and stuff. So are you, do you want to get some information? You can absolutely email us and set up something. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Do you have some information you can give us?
Well, I mean, it's all online.
Oh, it's all online. Yeah.
It's easy to find.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we just don't want to disturb our patients and things without having a plan. So.
No, I understand. I suppose it's just because the thing that we were curious about is kind of what it is you do, really, because it sort of looks, in some ways, some people have suggested it looks like a sort of abortion clinic or a fake abortion clinic. But you don't offer abortions, of course. Quite the opposite.
We are. I'm not the person that you need to talk to about that, but we do offer free medical services to women that need it. So.
Like what?
It's all available online. You can find it. Did you look us up before you came?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Okay, good.
It says that you can reverse the abortion pill.
That's a real thing.
How can you do that?
You have a treatment after you've taken the first pill before you take the second pill. So it's all available online.
I see.
Thank you so much for coming. Please reach out and try to have an official appointment with our director, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well,
Thanks
thank you.
for not blocking our patients. Appreciate it.
No, we wouldn't. No.
Have a great day.
Patience is an interesting word, but thank you very much. Thanks.
You didn't mishear at the end there. I said abortion reversal. This is a service widely advertised across America's network of CPCs.
Have you taken the abortion pill but are having second thoughts? You should know you are not alone and it may not be too late. To date, the treatment has seen over 500 babies born healthy.
Abortion via medication is generally a two-stage process. When a woman wants to terminate their pregnancy, they take two pills, mifepristone and misoprostol. The centers claim that if a woman has taken only the first, and within 24 to 48 hours, they can reverse the process by giving the woman a large dose of the hormone progesterone. The clinics claim this is completely safe and there are thousands of successful cases, and cite a study from 2018 which suggests a 64% success rate in saving the fetus. But if you think this sounds like quack medicine, that's because it probably is. Most medical professionals do not recognize this treatment. The study the clinics cite wasn't peer-reviewed and is not considered robust. Major medical organizations, such as the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, warn against the use of abortion pill reversal due to insufficient scientific evidence and have called the practice unethical. And worse, there are concerns it could even be dangerous.
There are so many of them, but this is just like another one that happens to be in Tampa, and it lists all of the things they do: pregnancy test, limited obstetric ultrasounds, pregnancy consultation, STD, STI testing, well woman care, and indeed, that's not even funny, but abortion pill reversal.
And they don't even attempt to sort of hide it. They don't make you click through a load of links to find it. It's right there.
It's the first thing they offer. That's the first thing that they offer. And this isn't. We happen to be on one website, but it's on all of them virtually. And you can call the number, and as we've been saying, you can't reverse abortions, or at least you certainly can't do it safely. So we thought that one of the only ways to try and kind of get a bit more information is Georgia, producer on the show, is going to call a couple of these clinics and try and get some more information about it. Quite a long conversation, I gather. So what did they say?
Okay, so I wrote some of this down because there was quite a lot of information.
Yeah.
So I rang them up and they connected me through to their medical team.
Right.
And they made out that what they had on offer was completely safe. They told me there could be some side effects, but that they'd be very minor, sort of along the lines of nausea, some headaches, and it all sounded extremely official at all times. I was sort of handed around from receptionist to nurse, back to another nurse, but they all sounded very professional. Nothing really sort of got me guessing anything, but only because I'd looked at the website first. And they did cite a clinical study to me from 2018 saying about 64% of women that have decided to take this reversal pill were well and fine, and it had worked for them. And when I asked them if they knew of any women that had taken this, a woman said to me she thinks around 5,000 women have taken it. I asked her if this was in the US, and she said she wasn't entirely sure, but she thinks it might be a global statistic.
So 5,000 women, they're saying, have had their abortions reversed successfully as a result of this treatment.
Yes, but she didn't sound entirely sure on it.
Yeah.
If I'm honest, it sounded slightly plucked out of thin air.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, and we should also say that you might be wondering why we didn't just record that conversation. And the reason is because we would do it in the UK if we were operating in the UK for this, because it's clearly in the public interest. But in Florida, and the Florida state law has extremely tight privacy laws, which means that you need the permission of the other party to do so. So very tight privacy laws with regards to privacy for those matters and phone calls and so on, but not so much for women if they're making a private medical decision.
We were stunned by all of this, so we decided to give the direct approach one final go.
So we're on our way to Tampa now, just on the other side of the state, and we are on our way to try and talk to Doorstep, basically, one of the pregnancy crisis centres who we spoke to and who are giving, as we have seen, very, very bad advice to women who are ending up one way or another in their care. I want to put to them some questions about why they're doing it and why they think it's a good idea and what safeguards they are putting in place to look after these women. And where is the front door? Where is it? Here? Oh, it's here. I think. A woman's place, 204. 204, okay. So... 204. Hello, madam. Hi. How are you doing? You all right? We're journalists from the UK.
Okay.
And we were wondering if there's someone we could speak to ask a few questions about an investigation we've been doing into the services you're providing.
May I give you the information of our CEO? He's the one that he does all of our media.
Yeah.
Let me give you his information, sir.
Okay. Is he here?
No, he's not currently. We have several locations. So let me get the card for you and I'll give you the information.
Okay, all right.
Thank
okay,
you, sir.
thanks.
Let me shut this.
Okay.
Sorry, we have clients.
Okay. Just going to get the information for our CEO.
Charles DeMarco.
Charles DeMarco.
He's the CEO, and that's the phone number for the Largo office.
Because we wanted.
Where it's located.
Thank you. Because we wanted to ask him, and you really, why you're claiming you can reverse abortions when it's not medically possible.
Can call Charles and speak with him. We have clients right now, so I'm not able to speak, but he'd be happy to give you all the information about abortion pill reversal.
Are you
Absolutely.
Are you providing abortion reversal services to them?
I don't give out information about what we're doing right now.
Because they know it's not safe, right? According to the American Gynecology Institute, it's not safe.
Okay. You can call Charles, and he'll be happy to fill you in on everything that we do, all of our services.
Are you medically trained in here, all of you?
I'm going to go now, sir.
Please. Are you medically trained?
Our medical team is medically trained. Please call Charles and he'll give you all the information. I'm going to close the door now. Thank
Okay.
you, sir. God
I hope you feel comfortable doing these sort of services when they're not safe. Bye-bye. So as you saw, they didn't want to know really, or they just fobbed me off. So they had clients in there. Gave me this number of this guy, Charles DeMarco, they say is their CEO. Number doesn't really seem to work, or it's just a sort of general number which takes you through to their directory. But this is the point about these organizations. They are shadowy. They operate under a cloak of mystery. They're not regulated properly. They get state support but have almost no state oversight because the state just doesn't want to know because they just broadly, philosophically agree with everything that they're doing. And they're not really very transparent or open even on their own merchandising and material and advertising, marketing, about what they even do. And yet despite that, you've got women going in there, possibly under false pretenses. Some of these women, they might be really desperate, they might not know much about it, they might not even speak English, they might be low information people in different ways, and they're potentially just getting lured into something. They of course would deny that, and they say they're just trying to help women who are in desperate need. But it doesn't seem to me in any sense to be very clear what kind of real help in any way they're providing. And one thing we've been really surprised by and disturbed by looking into this story is the fact that you have these fake abortion clinics, as their opponents call them. How is this allowed to take place?
So the state of Florida has empowered these extremists to lie to women, to share misinformation, and not just in the context of reproductive care, but also in the context of vaccines, in the context of LGBTQ plus identity. It has just become a cesspool of fanatics committed to spreading as many lies as they can to divide us, to distract us, and to make life harder for people in these situations. It's publicly endorsed. Many politicians serve on the boards of crisis pregnancy centers. So it's been embedded into our political system, and it's disgusting. It's truly disgusting.
And this is the final element to all of it, and where abortion is as important as it is part of a wider picture. Florida is ground zero for the culture war in America. It is a state which has become the incubator of MAGAism, and where the Republican-dominated state government under Ron DeSantis has been pushing the frontiers on all manner of pet social conservative projects, on abortion, trans rights, schooling, and more besides. It is a model which many conservatives across the US revere and want to emulate.
Within this election cycle, we had television stations threatened for airing an ad on Yes on 4 for sharing a patient's experience, a patient who was navigating cancer, needed an abortion. They threatened TV stations that they needed to take that ad off of the air. And when you're threatening the media, when you're weaponizing state government, including our state agencies, to deceive Floridians, I would say that is absolutely worth sounding the alarm bells for. As the country was reading Project 2025, Florida was living it in 2024.
I remember the doctor handing me a baby boy that was blue, and I just held him because he was so cold.
Most women in states like Florida don't think much about Project 2025 or otherwise, but they are living with the legacy of Trump's first term. And what is clear is that the human cost of that legacy is everywhere you look. Deborah wanted a baby. She made a terrible discovery, and then another that the state would force her to undergo the most unimaginable trauma.
Having to watch your wife be in pain and continue to tell her to keep going, that everything's gonna be okay, knowing it's not. That was the hardest thing.
Government had no right to do that to my family. This ban is torture.
Dr. David Berger is Deborah's physician.
She was pregnant, moving along, and then we were doing a follow-up appointment just to go over some lab results, of which, I said, how are things going with the pregnancy? And then all of a sudden her face just dropped. She's like, you haven't heard? I'm like, no, what? And that's when she shared with me that it was discovered that the that the fetus did not have developed kidneys. It's a very uncommon thing, but it happens. And with that, if you don't have kidneys, you can't make amniotic fluid. And if you can't make amniotic fluid, the lungs can't develop because that fluid needs to be there for that. And with this situation, she was told that there was almost certainty that this baby would not survive. And so this had happened when, by the time it was determined, it was past the date that Florida was allowing for termination of pregnancy. But also, there was no exemption because her life wasn't at risk, even though this was considered a fetal fatal abnormality with no chance of survival. And so the doctors were not allowed to perform a termination of this pregnancy, which is what she wanted to do. She certainly had no intention of doing this. She was looking forward to having her husband and their son were looking forward to having a baby, an addition to their family. So she had a fetus that was not going to make it. She fully knew that the longer she went, the more pain it would be, the more dangerous it would be to deliver, and she didn't have an option. And so she had to carry the baby to 37 weeks, of which she was then allowed to induce. And as expected, the baby was delivered, the umbilical cord was cut, the baby immediately started gasping for air and turned blue, and within a couple hours died in her arms.
That is must have been an incredibly traumatic experience for Deborah.
Anxiety, PTSD, depression. How could one not go through that? This didn't have to go down that way. She didn't have to go through this suffering. We didn't know whether she could even be able to have a baby again, to carry a baby, because there was the possibility that there could have been organ damage or something else done. So we still don't know that. But just what all of them had to go through. Here they had this young child already who was expecting to have a sibling come home, and they knew that this kid wasn't going to have a sibling come home. So there was also how do you prepare a young child, a toddler, for this type of news.
I try and maintain objectivity when doing stories and thinking about people's political beliefs. And I'm fascinated by politics. I love to try and understand why people get to the political beliefs they do, especially if I actually disagree with them. But I have to say, I am really struggling to maintain objectivity on this story. Not least having seen what we saw at the abortion clinic with those weirdos, barracking women, harassing women at a really vulnerable point of their lives. Hearing what the doctor was saying in there. It's medieval. It is primitive. It is barbaric. A woman like Deborah having to experience something like that. The trauma of it, all in the name, irony of ironies, of being pro-life. And she might not even, there's a possibility she may not be able to have a child and create another life as a result of that. She wanted the baby. And yet here we are. And you know what? This isn't even about politics. It's not even about religion. It is about what this stuff is always about. It's about sex. It's about those weirdo men who hang out outside those clinics, who get so obsessed by it all. They're obsessed by women's bodies and are angry. They're furious that those women have had sex. That's what it is always about. It is a tale as old as time with this. It's not about being pro-life, which is a perfectly legitimate point of view, but you can do that. You can do that and have that view without being like that, and without doing those things, and without putting women through hell, either outside the clinic or through pregnancies like that there, and as we heard about Deborah. It is medieval.
There is hope from Democrats that abortion being on the ballot in so many states might help Harris win, and it might. Yet, as we left Florida, I couldn't help but think one thing. I didn't believe that anything could make the election itself feel small, but somehow, though deeply connected to what we'd seen, this does. Because whoever wins, whatever happens, that thinking, that fervour, that fundamentalism which has gripped this state and others, which has allowed the extremism of a minority to overwhelm the common sense of the majority, that zeal, that energy, that attempt to regulate personal morality built over decades, that isn't going anywhere. And who knows where it leads next.
The Newsagents. This is a Global Player original podcast.